Shall we get started?
Are you yawning out of nervousness because you get nervous around me?
Not nervousness, it's just my body.
It's okay to flirt with me.
I'm not flirting with you. Good morning. We're here with, what do you prefer, Becky? We're here with Becky, and I'm here to ask him a couple questions about his new project, Insects in the Gulch.
Also think of it more as a conversation. Actually, go for it. Do what you're going to do. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah. Who's interviewing who here?
Am I still making you nervous?
I'm not nervous.
Okay.
I've never been nervous a day in my life.
Except around me. People don't like chewing into mics, right? What do they think about drinking into mics?
Most of the time when people complain about chewing in the mic, I never even hear it.
I think it's the idea of it. Do you remember girls being like, oh, I hate the word moist? I hate the word moist.
Yeah, that was really annoying.
This next clip is us mukbanging at Diamond Restaurant.
What bandwagons do you hate most? That's a good place to start,
That's a good
actually.
question.
That's a good question.
Sarah Palin lip bite is underrated.
Pretty underrated.
And then when they're like, Tijani's so fit. Oh, he takes his shirt off on stage. He's hot.
If you were labeled an Instagram guy, how would you respond to that?
That is so slanderous. I think when it's people
Yeah.
online, who gives a f***? You can't expect them to go deep dive and be like, well, what's his credits? What's his validity?
Yeah, I feel like every generation of musicians or artists or whatever, bands, they've had to do things they don't want to do exactly.
This is the only thing I've enjoyed doing so far.
Yeah.
For content. It motivates me. It gets me and my friends together.
It's also just fun just having an idea and just doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the whole point of making music sometimes. Like, you're just like, oh, let me just explore this topic, right?
That's the only thing that gets me excited about creative ideas is exploring, whether it's like something in writing or just like a random, I don't know, just a thought, like spiraling with a thought a little bit. Just wrestling with an idea is really fun.
Were any of these songs on Insects in the Gulch where you're working with other people in the same room, or was it mostly you in your room by yourself, or how did it come together?
That was a period of time I had made all the beats actually when I had moved away from like all my music friends. So these collection of songs specifically were a particular pocket of sound. I'd make like a lot of beats over a period of time. And I'll conceptualize like how they go together kind of while I'm listening to them or going over what I want to write to. I still work very compartmentally through my stuff. I thought these sound like they go together, and it's kind of just a snapshot in time.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I feel like a lot of the lyrics on this are extremely self-reflective, and it taps into like specific stories that you tell. Like, the one thing that really pops out was you have a song, I forget which song it is, but you talk about how you like lost your keys and like flipped out, and I was like, oh, that's interesting to paint that scene and put it into an album. Honestly, I've never heard anything like that. I've been listening to your music for a while, and I feel like that was a deviation from how you typically write. You described your music as like more abstract. Some songwriters are more on the nose, some are more abstract, some are more storytellers, and the way you tell your stories are very nuanced. Do you see that in yourself in like your daily life or outside of production? Like the way you make choices with music is also parallel with how you live your life?
Yeah, I mean, those lyrics are written as I'm like living life. I don't sit down and write. It's more or less my brain is spiraling and I just write those out. And I might change it up so that they fit like song structure, but the premise of the idea, it's not changed a whole lot from thought to paper, so to speak.
So if you take away the visuals and take away the lyrics, what stance do you think your production makes? And then how do you think it's perceived?
I've never been good at understanding how, even when people compliment me directly, sometimes it's hard to decipher like what they mean by that compliment. A lot of things aren't straightforward. I have a really hard time seeing how people perceive me. One time someone did say that my beats sound like Nick Cannon though. And I just want to say that was definitely hater shit. Unless they were just like love drumline.
And we got a thing that we have for haters.
No. Just know though.
Just know.
So perception is, I guess, a thing of timeliness. To be able to kind of live right at the crosshairs of timely and timeless.
Yeah.
In your own sound. It would be ideal. I just try not to worry too much about that.
You know, you made these songs, you were away from your friends, it was a certain period of your life. It's sort of a snapshot, Insects in the Gulch, of what that time felt like. You know, and it's not always going to feel like that. Those feelings, you know, may come up again, but you may, you know, respond to them in a different way because you've grown. And, you know, it's the same thing with music. It does give me that same excitement and that same, like, rush However, I don't stick with it as long.
The first time you hear a sound,
Yeah.
that initial excitement is like a drug, right? And then
Yeah.
it lessens. Then there's another peak you'll hit. It's like once you start making music or doing production, you're able to recognize what's happening in a song. That creates this other rush. I like how you tied that into like the emotions you're feeling, and your perception will change over time. One of the coolest things about making recorded music is your perception will change over time. Regardless, you're able to revisit that song. You might be able to hear it from a different space of, you're like, oh, that's illuminating to how I feel now, and in a different way. It felt like foreshadowing of something that I didn't even know was coming.
If you died right now, how would you think you'd be remembered?
What do I think people remember me for? And what do I want people to remember me for? My anxiety's telling me they'll see me as extremely selfish and extremely oblivious and like aloof. That's like my fear. But I think about the tangible things I can do day to day for my friends and the people I'm directly around,
Yeah.
and can have an impact on. And I know that they have more affinity for me than I might myself.
You're one of the few people that I know personally that really put in the time you need into a project to make it be great. And also, you're willing to stick with ideas longer. I think I heard this from Mark Norman or Einstein. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, no, it was Mark Norman. He said he doesn't think he's a great joke writer. A lot of times he just sticks with an idea longer. And I feel like you have that same amount of drive and that same willingness to explore an idea until it comes to fruition, would you say? Yeah?
We've talked about our strengths before, and something that you've said a couple times to me is my ability to sit with an idea. I think the only reason for that, I just remember how it felt when I first heard it. And if that feeling wasn't first there, then I don't even consider that to be something that I'm going to put out later. If there is some inkling of a feeling, whether it's one specific sound, one beat loop, I'm like, that is what I need to get out, because that's what gave me that excitement when I first made that beat or first made that idea. Definitely after that first point of making it, you just got to remember the feeling of it, how it felt to you, and that's the spirit of it. So like finishing that idea is everything. You know, it might flop. You'd be like, damn, I'm the only one who likes that feeling.
Yeah.
Or you could ruin the feeling too.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful of that.
Everyone's relationship to songs is different, you know. I've mentioned singing songs that are old of mine where I'm just like, I hate that everyone loves this song or like really appreciates this, because it just reminds me of just a horrible time in my life, right? But to them, they don't have those feelings attached to it, so the relationship to it is different, you know.
You almost have to compartmentalize or separate yourself from it and understand.
I have to.
How are you going to play it on stage if you hate it? You almost have to just.
It's not that I hate. I hate the feeling that comes with it and the memories. You know.
Oh yeah, one of the beauties is being able to scrapbook your life, and then one of the things that comes bad with it is those memories might not be good, and they might feel bad, or it might be surrounded with shame or like things you wish you did better. Why we put it out, I don't know. It's some weird thing that we do. It's like, well, we don't have to share that. I don't want to hide these feelings. There might be people that could really hear the emotion surrounding it. So I want to be abstract in the ways that still excite me artistically, but also be direct enough to where it's like, you're not just like existing in this liminal space where no one can relate. We do it for ourselves, but you also want the connection. There's a balance.
Yeah, for sure. It's a tough balance. You know, I hate on Imagine Dragons so much. Honestly, can't even remember. I know like 2 songs.
That was a bandwagon hate.
I always try to hear every single album out before I really hate something. I'm like,
mean that?
Hear me out. No, but like when we're talking about music, I'm always like, all right, before I actually hate this, let me give this an actual try and like let me listen to it. If I still hate it, then I'm just like trust my initial gut on it, you know. However, I always hated on Imagine Dragons or, you know, artists that it seems like they're telling stories that are like super personal or like super deep or whatever. And I'm like almost jealous of them now because, like I said, tapping into that vulnerability is like,
I almost vomited.
It's a superpower.
It wasn't because of what you said. I just burped and it was a little bit of puke. Jealous is a harsh word. A little envy or admiration for what they are able to do.
Having such on the nose, open, vulnerable songs like really open you up to a lot of conversations that honestly sometimes I don't want to have. I don't know how you feel about
having conversations I don't want to have.
Yeah, conversations around insects in the Gulch. Yeah, just
Bottle that shit up
it's
nice
tough.
And tight.
It's tough.
I think we have two different perspectives, and I think that's a good one to have. I
Yeah.
feel so different about it. How do you shine light on not the thing itself, but these little moments surrounding really tough things? That's what inspires me songwriting-wise, is people that are able to get these really intricate or like singular things surrounding a bigger thing, kind of extrapolating on that and discovering this other perspective. That's like tends to be my favorite music. When somebody has a lyric or a short phrase where it's like, I've never heard words strung together that way, excites me.
Also, I'm sorry if my eyes started wandering. Limp Bizkit's is on, and it really
It got to you.
took me out. I was trying so hard.
Yeah, I'm a strong. Next project, we're making a hemorrhoid rock band. We're escalating butt rock to hemorrhoid rock.
I call it dad rock, though.
Butt rock.
Butt rock is what it's called?
Limp Bizkit could be dad rock, but it works, you know? Like, I don't think dad rock necessarily. I think butt rock's a little bit more diminutive.
That feels so
diminutive.
that feels so demeaning, though.
Demeaning. Butt rock seems mean. Dad rock isn't always a bad thing. It's just what dads listen to.
Gotcha.
There's some stuff that dads listen to.
Are you a dad?
How many kids do you want?
Do you want an honest answer?
I want an honest
You want
answer.
an honest answer? It'd be so nice to have just a baby little girl, dude.
That's really cute, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep.
Your threshold for like danger would just go through the roof. And I don't know if I could barely handle like.
Yes.
I wake up in a panic over nothing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. I'd be cooked.
And then like.
How did our parents do it? Sincerely, I'm shaking my leg thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking about having a kid. I think that's why so many parents just check out, because the emotional aptitude, being able to handle all of that fear.
Yeah.
I've seen a real change happen with people who have kids. People hit 180s, and it was like some innate thing in them. And what if my body doesn't hit that thing that needs to happen where it's like it can handle. I'm worried about how anxious I'd be all the time.
Before the baby even came, I'd be bald.
My hairline's already going. I'd be cooked.
In my last relationship, on April Fool's Day, she joked that she was pregnant, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm quitting music and getting a real job. Like immediately, like, it was that quick. So I probably would just 180 super quick.
Everything frightens me because I'm not living moment to moment. Unfortunately, no matter how big the thing is, you do as much prep as you can, as far out as your brain lets you.
Preparation H.
When that stress hits, you don't need that itch. Anyway, we'll workshop it.
We should come up with a Preparation H jingle.
I would do it 100%. Do they have a jingle? We'll do some research later. If we become dads, we're just cold calling companies to see if they need jingles.
That'd be hilarious. Top 5 jingles go. 800 588 2300 Empire today.
You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com.
That was all over Kansas, wasn't it?
That's all over the Midwest, baby.
Dude, farming's kind of crazy. I looked into it.
Let's talk about it. It's hard out there for
I actually
farmers,
don't.
man.
By looked into it, I mean I heard like a couple sentences from a guy who owns a business that's on a farm. So let's get some goats.
We tour with them.
We
We
tour
sell
with the goats.
goat milk and goat cheese on this. On our merch booth, we're also
That'd
going
be
to have
crazy.
soaps, goat soap.
Cows are too big, so
But they are cute as hell, bro. I like a cow.
you can't bring
man.
chickens on the road. I feel like
chickens.
its feathers are crazy.
What we got to do is a small pig. Do you think there'll be a point where you're like, this form of communication is more meaningful? That be it a letter, a text, or a call? Or does it all kind of hold the same value to you?
A good joke goes a long way. If you mailed me a meme and I haven't seen you in like or heard from you in like 6 years,
That was very flattering.
I would be like, we're homies.
When letters do come back, I'm bringing back filling it with anthrax. Go for it. No, go for it.
Maybe it's a little mean, but I was just like making fun of. Cut that.
Go
Do
for
not
it.
put that in there.
I won't,
Anyways,
I won't. I will send it to you before, but go for it, yeah.
yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go do some.
I'm kidding. Okay. Dude, it's not real.
You want
Stop.
to test that theory?
Stop.
I shook Kumail Nanjiani's hand. It was crazy. The dude's built like crazy.
If he asked you on a date, would you say yes?
If you saw his pectorals now, dude.
Dude, he's big. That dude is juice.
He's like, it's not scary. It's comforting how big he is. I got a hug from a huge dude the other day. He was probably like 6 foot, like 300 pounds. Gave me a hug the other day, and I was just like, wow.
I get it.
I get it.
Okay, you're not able to receive it at that size. That's the thing that sucks. Me, myself, being 6'8", 380, I often find it hard to feel embraced by, maybe I don't want to be Big Spoon tonight. maybe I want to be coddled.
There was a last haiku I wrote. Every day I ask, does Sarah Palin have Tinder? Like, just hear me out. I want to write like 20 more. Poetry's like, I feel like something that people take really serious. And it's just like, if you just don't take it serious, it makes it like that much funnier. You know what I mean?
What you're saying is, why can't I have fun and do this and you not think I'm on your craft? You don't want to be taken as being a dickhead because you do have respect for poets.
I have a respect for anyone who tries to put together words in a way that brings emotion. Screenwriters, songwriters, poets, rappers, I love it all.
Yeah. I think the best artists also have
a funny side.
They're going to be able to see like, hey, these are two different points of expression with like what we do, and both are valid, and there's room for both. It's the same thing with us, like thinking too much about the reception of something.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
We're very dynamic people.
You have the most heinous meals before performances. The egg salad sandwich, that was crazy. I still think that's crazy. Right before performance is nuts.
I don't know. Felt fine.
You didn't have to poop or anything? I would have to poop in the middle of the set. I wouldn't have been able to move around at all.
It was on sale. That's actually what it was. It was on sale and I needed protein.
The only reason I haven't myself is because I'm a procrastinator. That's why.
Fair.
I'd do it right now if I could. I'm kidding.
Look, it just...
I've tapped the threshold. We're backing off.
Yeah, let's not show that again.
This?
No, stop.
Listen, I'm willing to live and die by the bit, okay? People will respect that. If I died for a bit, could you imagine?
I thought about the question you asked in the car on the way to Cincinnati, where you said, what is something you don't know about me that you've always wanted to know about me? And you laughed and you said, okay, what's something you know about me that you wish you never knew about me? We can just forgive each other.
Forgiveness is key.
Nice handshake.
Acceptance is key.
Nice side hug would be better. I couldn't believe the movement I was seeing in the preview. That's all. It was enamoring.
It's pretty unbelievable
bewildering.
sometimes.
As a kid, I would not have had that willpower. When I was younger, I had no capacity to clock that in my brain like, hey, don't do that.
There was an experiment. They put a rat, I don't know if it was like an IV drip or whatever, but it was something that like gave them like dopamine. And there was one that did nothing, absolutely nothing.
You think they were giving the rat Zen pouches?
Probably. It literally would just keep, it would press the button periodically and be fine.
Yeah.
Or it became more and more frequent. And then after that, it literally would just tap the button until it literally died. And it's like that. Humans are not too far off. You know what I mean? So
What am I going to say? I'm human.
what's my take? I think people should say, I love you less. Save it. Save it. Familiarity breeds contempt, or whatever that phrase is, right? If I hear I love you 1,000 times a day, yes, I'm going to logically be like, I'm grateful for this. However, it loses its essence. It loses its power. You know what I mean?
I'm only mad at you right now because you simply didn't accept my physical affection when you touch my thigh all the time off camera. You
Your
try
pants.
to kiss me all the time.
That is a lie. That is a lie.
No.
I mean, I'm so lonely at this point.
Be about it. If you're going to keep making jokes, you better get to it. Whoa. That hurts my jaw.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I agree. Words said too often can be devalued, perhaps. But also, I could argue the opposite, and that they mean the same. Because I think no matter how many times a slur is said, still kind of has the same weight. If that holds to be true, right? That can still be damaging and still be as shitty. The positive thing should also be the same.
But here's
the
the problem. Here's the
intention.
problem.
Are
Here's
you
the problem.
talking like on second? Are you talking about with a partner?
In almost every relationship,
facet.
in almost every facet. And oftentimes it comes with an expectation of, oh, I'm supposed to say this back, or I'm supposed to have a certain response, and people are expecting a certain response, and that expectancy like ruins this whole...
Have you ever thought to think that your people pleasing is hurting you, and that it's actually not an issue with them, but you're not able to also tell yourself that it's okay to not give people exactly what they want?
If someone says I love you
Right.
to me,
Yeah.
and I say, oh, thank you, I appreciate it, you sound so crazy rather than not saying it back. I would say much love.
That's
Just
good.
an indirect.
good.
When people directly say the words I love you, that makes me so uncomfortable.
Are you talking about someone you're in a relationship with?
Maybe, I don't know. But thing is, I know that person.
Okay, so it's a friend.
Just in general.
There are a lot of different types
general.
of love.
I feel like it comes with a certain responsibility. I feel like it comes with a certain like level
You're not having
of
a kid
trust.
with them.
A certain level of trust. Like to say I love you is crazy. Like say it indirectly. I have a lot of love for you is
Yeah.
way different
fair,
than I love you. You know what I
fair.
mean?
What if I said I love you?
If you said it, that's different. I know you.
Say
we
it
trust
back.
each other. I really appreciate
Say it back.
I love you, Ike.
Oh. Okay, no, stop.
I don't know if this is a mental health issue or whatever, but I have trouble looking in people's eyes when I'm saying something serious. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know, but I have to I blur my eyes when I'm saying something serious or something hard. Like you know, you
yeah,
can
I'm
blur
doing
your eyes.
it right now.
It's just so much easier. Like I don't
So
know.
you're saying I should get on stage and just blur? Yo.
It makes it makes it a lot easier to talk to people.
Look, that is like equally as heart-wrenching as it is hilarious. And I'm sorry. It's like, okay, there's some real something there.
Yeah.
And real something to dissect and I want to acknowledge. But that's also hilarious to me.
It is really funny.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
It's hilarious.
I'm glad we can
I
laugh
find
about
most things about my personality pretty funny.
I was talking with Devin, a.k.a. Kunai Crumb, the other day. We were talking about what we want to see in an artist or an individual. We shouldn't...
I'm sorry, my ADD. Go ahead.
It's
go
okay.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm trying... Let me make this concise so it, like, catches you where it needs to.
All right.
Whether it's in a relationship...
I was thinking about the last time someone said I love you to me.
There is reasonable expectation and understanding that we are going to change and grow. However, if it takes a few times and there's no receptivity to that, particularly with like people that we're close with, to put that expectation for them to be someone else or change is almost more damaging. We're specifically talking with artists first. You shouldn't wait around to be like, I just wish this artist would do this. If you want to hear somebody sound like this, just do it yourself or find an artist that does that. They're out there. I'm guarantee that sound has been done and is better than you could even imagine.
Yeah.
Don't wait around for the artist to become this artist because it's your favorite artist. Go find that artist that it scratches that itch. Like, look for it. Then we kind of brought it back later in a separate conversation talking about how that kind of works in relationships. Like, to stick around and wait for them to change.
Look at this dude trying to be emotionally intelligent. LOL.
Cringe. That was a question I was going to ask you. Do you?
Oh. Yeah, having expectations on people is crazy in general. You should almost do nothing without an expectation. Unless it's like a place of business or whatever, and they provide a service and like, we do this, and you're looking for that thing, and it's just like, I should expect that thing from you. With everything else, it's sort of just like, I can't expect you to hang out with me all the time. I can't expect you to respond how I want you to respond. I can't expect anything.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I feel like when you're so close to somebody, eye contact's a little bit stranger versus you'll see podcast studios, they have like more distance between themselves.
Yeah.
Not that we're podcasting, but we're not either. Okay, no yawning into the mic.
When is the project coming out? That's what I want to know.
April. It'd be cool to get it out by April, and I can be done with it forever. When it comes to rollout, do you appreciate it ahead of time?
When I hear a song I like, I'm just like, I want to hear it right now, and I want to hear it forever for the next month and a half. Me personally, like, if I hear a song, I listen to it forever. Like,
Do you burn out songs?
I don't think I ever burn out from them. I still listen to songs like on repeat that came out 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
But then there's also songs that just came out that also I still just have on repeat all the
Yeah.
time. So for rollouts, I think you just have to stick to your own idea. Anything that's going to move you forward. I think that's what's going to be best. I think for me, that means putting out something that looks cool and sounds good and people have a response to it. I don't know about you, but I feel like music is just an advertisement to sell other things. You know, sell merch, sell tickets, sell yourself, whatever.
But then it
It's
kind of comes
not.
back around because you're using music to sell the thing to then
Make music.
to make and sell that thing again.
Exactly.
I think with all this stuff, that's what I need to do is find a way to point it to the thing that I'm trying to do.
Especially for you, your music, I think it's pretty easy because your tracks are very unique. Every time I've heard something from you or I've heard you produce on something or even write something, I'm just like, oh, this is definitely a Becky production because the swing is so signature to you. And I think that, I don't know, I'm curious to see how you will accentuate that in the future. Thank you. Where does that swing come from? Where does that texture come from? Where are those things coming from on Insects in the Gulch?
Sandpaper? Sandpaper.
And
We got our director delivering hot teas to us. Becky Swing. I think first you learn to understand, like when you're listening to stuff, and then you learn to emulate it. And then naturally, the more you do it, you want to define your own take on it. So like a lot of it is just inspired by like my inspirations, I'm sure. People that I really respect their ear and know that they listen to a lot of concurrent stuff have a model depth of the scope of music. And when they tell me like this feels different, I believe that. I think I get a lot of, oh, you sound like this person or that person. But those comparisons haven't really felt real to me. Like, sure, yeah, sometimes. Like, I've definitely made beats that sound like Kate Trinata, or I've made beats that sound like Monty-esque, because I wanted to learn, like, what they were doing, learn their process. But ultimately, I wouldn't put those out. And I was like, those aren't me. They're fun practice exercises. It's fun to understand. But then you can kind of learn from that. And it just, the more you do it, the more you practice, you start to find what pocket feels true to you at that time.
I think another thing that's signature to Insects at the Gulch are the chords that are used. How do you explore that side of your musical ability? Because that's different than programming drums, or different than writing lyrics, or producing a whole song, an arrangement, and stuff like that.
That's pretty much where I start. I just really know I want to find a chord progression I like. So it's just finding a new way to play the same chords again. What triads feel different, or what inversions feel different. Finding things that feel fresh and like reinventive to me. That's kind of what I start with, and what keeps me going.
I use a lot of jazz chords, and I think a lot of jazz chords feel very nuanced. It doesn't feel quite happy, but it doesn't feel quite sad. And you are very adept at like being able to use those slight note changes and inversions to pull the emotion out of those chord changes. And I don't think it's not necessarily, I don't think that's easy to do at all.
I wanted to be able to create more emotional depth and tension.
Yeah.
So that's something I like actively worked on while making new progressions, rise and fall. I never considered writing a bridge, but like thinking about bridges that actually stuck with me, that really flows into each other. I think that's something I really worked with this time around, and something I wanted to improve on.
And I don't think that's something you can replicate at all.
AI music has me in 3 years. I'm cooked.
Nah, I don't think so. I think another thing about your production are your drum samples and sound selection. Do you mostly record your own sounds? Do you find them online? How do you build that like landscape?
That's a secret sauce, bro. I won't. No, I'm just kidding.
So lame.
No, it's just recycling sounds, resampling them, chopping them up, changing the pitch. One of the songs was literally a loop I'd found, and I put it in halftime speed, and it felt completely different. I'm like, oh, this is nuts. I'll just pick a sample I like, and it's like, well, I'm not going to use it as is. It's great as it is, but let's see what we can do to reuse it, reinvent it.
And you use a lot of stock Ableton stuff, right?
When it comes to effects, I'll use a lot of like the stock reverb. The stuff that I'm not using stock typically is like I've started using outboard gear for effects processing. Just want to spend my money on other stuff, or I don't know how to find a good torrent. I find something I really like, and then I just like figure out how far I can stretch it. Whatever works, I'm not opposed. I also like see how you use so much for mixing. Like you have a very real professional tool bag of like plugins for mixing, and I want to get more into that. Especially recently, I feel like you've taken this very visible leap just in a few months, where like I'm hearing how you process some of these vocals on these demos, and I'm like, I want to know how to do that. So you should do a crash course with me on how you've been processing some of your vocals.
For most of what I've been doing, I just trying to not lean on plugins or whatever is in the laptop or in the program. I've been trying to lean on just like how I record something and how I EQ something. I've been a big fan of just like clipping preamps, distorting stuff on the way in, committing early to it, spreading it out, stacking it up. It's more like the front end, recording. I've been using this very mic actually on vocals and stuff. Typically, most people would want a nice, clear condenser, a detailed high-end mic, whereas, I use this piece of garbage, and it's like if I clip it going in, then double it, and then I have one clean and then two that are stacked left and right that are clipped. It just has like this different depth to it. And then I can delay the sides, or I can just delay the middle, rather than using a whole bunch of different plugins and such, because I hate these plugin companies because they just rob you of your money, and then they switch up on you. Then you have to adhere to their You know how it
Subscribe.
goes. Yeah, it's trash. So I try to like think, all right, what would be a fun new way to record this?
It only benefits you to change your process. It might not be fruitful right then, like the change you made, but like you might learn something from it that you might use down the road. So it's like if you have an idea or want to change something up, just do it. Also, I like what you said about just clipping going into it and committing early. I think that's almost a two birds thing. It's like, A, you're getting this timbre and distortion that is unique to that specific equipment because every mic clips a little bit differently. The preamp you're running it into might have a different like
Energy.
spectrum of
life.
colors,
Yeah,
life.
color.
It gives it unique characteristic that's unique to your recording process. It keeps it live, keeps it fun, and also committing early. You don't have time to overthink. If you're keeping it moving, you're able to capture that energy. And it's like, well, this is like, you can work with what you got. You have some parameters to work with. So much of the synths and the resampling and the granular stuff I did, it was very much committing early. And also to save CPU. It just benefits me all the way around.
I always find it interesting how certain physical limitations have often inspired the way music has sounded, you know? And now with the computer, you kind of have like limitless. There are no limits at all, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's funny how CPU still comes into play of how you create music. I think
CPU keeps increasing. CPU demand of plugins keeps increasing. It's an endless vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It's like why Murphy or Moore's law?
Murphy's Law is something can go wrong. It will
What's
go
the
wrong.
difference?
I don't know
if
what
the
Moore's Law is.
computer can overload, it will overload.
Yeah.
So commit early. That's game.
And I feel like that in life, you know, I feel like if you don't commit early a lot of times, you run into issues and you overthink it. And like, had you just committed early that first time and gone with your gut and just trusted yourself that you're going to be able to finish this thing or see it through, typically it's going to work out, you know? I know about you, but I think about the parallels of like work and life, how the decisions are often very similar to each other.
And how I want to end them both and do neither. Yeah, I see that parallel.
Any favorite lyrics from the Insects in the Gulch?
The first verse of Prop Basics. I really like that verse. There's a lot of lyrics I'm very proud of, but I don't really love explaining lyrics. I think that sometimes it can kind of take away like some of the mystique around interpretation. And I remember as a kid, I loved like thinking, what the hell did they mean here? And sometimes as you get older, it becomes more clear. And sometimes it remains very like interpretive. And I think that's like a really fun thing. I just feel like the art's out there. It's kind of like, what's your interpretation of it? Even if it's heinous, it's part of the game. I feel like it's fun. Leaves conversation open.
I think the album cover was a really interesting choice. From where the album cover was shot, it doesn't seem like a person from this place would make this style of music. It feels like an interesting contrast.
Dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people think kids from Kansas would do this. Like, I have friends that tell me, like, you made it out, which is crazy to hear. Every time I talk to them, like, it's better than here. And I don't disagree with them completely. It's tough. It's very, very rural. There's like two reasons why I did this, but specifically the dichotomy of sound. Like, why is this the Badlands of Wyoming? Something I asked myself too, because I was like, does this fit this? And then I came to terms with, yeah, it might not feel like somebody from this place would make this style of music, but also I'm from Kansas. Like, I moved around a lot, but I lived a good half of my adolescence in Kansas. And I am making this stuff. You know, my family lives out there now. So I was like, you know what? Let's go check it out. The Red Gulch Alkali is a 34-mile stretch of just red dirt and these huge, like, hills and small mountains almost. There was not a sight of a living soul. There's no bugs, no animals. There's some bones we found from, like, cattle. And we were truly, like, the only ones there. Like, even vegetation barely grew. And I just thought about it. And it's like, we're not necessarily interrupting anything. It was this whole dialogue I had with insects in the Gulch. Like, we are the insects here.
It's a very spooky place to be when you realize you're the only one out there.
I felt alone a lot.
Yeah.
I've never felt that physically alone. And I was with another person. It was just me and them. And it was like, damn, this is just us out here. And you don't really go out to a place that remote and that open. And you can just see for hundreds of miles.
Yeah, I feel like your awareness changes when you're very, very far from other humans or things that you closely relate to, you know. I always get this heightened emotional state whenever I'm traveling, especially if I'm traveling like somewhere new and somewhere where I haven't really experienced. Like, I got that going through the desert last year or 2 years ago. The southern western part of America. I remember just like driving and being like, I haven't seen anything for miles, and we're traveling like 75 miles an hour, and I'm like, I haven't seen anything for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're 30 miles from something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like nothing.
I even feel that just anywhere I travel that's new. I feel that even going to another city in the same region, I try not to let it stop me, because typically you get new experiences that way, and you know, shit could go wrong right where you're comfortable. So try not to let that worry me too much. But I definitely am on like a heightened awareness. I can't imagine how touring feels, especially the first time you tour a new region or a new continent. Like that's got to be so crazy and exhausting.
Speaking of tours, do you have any shows lined up? Do you plan on taking Insects in the Gulch to any other places? Or do you think Insects in the Gulch will reach corners of the earth you didn't think were possible?
I definitely plan on playing more. In an ideal world, I would tour it, if that's a choice I can have. And in an ideal world where all my time can be allocated to producing for others, recording others, writing with others, as well as getting my stuff off in my free time. My favorite beats that don't get picked up, I'm able to write to them. But I just have to focus on what I get the most out of in my community and with my friends and with myself. It still is making records. Recording and production is probably always going to be my focus. At least it is right now.
Do you think there's a 12-year-old in Kansas who will reach this project and think, oh, maybe I can learn to flip some guitar samples and go do shows and produce for other people?
I definitely hope so. I do hope that it reaches some goofy kid like me, or kid that's just into a lot of different stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd feel pretty surreal.
I grew up a lot of different places as well, and part of that was being in a rural area, and
What a weird word, huh? Rural.
I hate that word. There's not a lot of diversity in people. I was definitely just complete outlier. Especially being black, it feels more immediate, maybe for me,
Yeah.
because I had literally no one in my entire community that looked like me, that played like me, that liked the songs that I played. So I'm like, you know what? That's who I'm going to make it for. Whoever wants to join and hop on the train, I'm going to let them do that. But for me in my house,
Unfortunately, you have that immediacy, but I think you've really turned into like a superpower. There was always somebody that looked like me at the very least in these communities I was in, but it didn't take long for me to feel like
an outlier.
Yeah, not at all. Then
Is that driving you nuts?
that light turning on?
No, that sound. It's been doing that for like 20 minutes.
I haven't noticed it at all. I think they stepped out back for a smoke, and so their Bluetooth is like like a little bit too far.
Dude, it is driving me nuts.
Now
Yeah.
I can't stop noticing it. Cheers. They died.
Maybe that was just the end of the song and it keeps going. I shouldn't have pointed out. I've learned to not point out things that just like are really annoying, that like sounds. I'll walk into a coffee shop or I'll walk into like any place and be like,
This mix sucks.
I point it out to someone, they're like, oh, now I can't unhear it.
But at least we're here together in this journey of trying to ignore this Bluetooth connection being a little bit too distant. So I'm glad you shared that with me, and we can be in liminal hell together.
Do you have any dream collabs in the future? Or is there anyone who would want to produce for?
I'm down to produce for a lot of people, honestly. I'm not too particular about that. But when it comes to collabs for your own stuff, I feel like it's a matter of time. Got to meet people at the right time. It'll either happen or it doesn't. So I think just being open to it happening, like shooting your shot and being receptive to somebody reaching out to you, I think the best way collabs can happen is you guys both liking each other's stuff, kind of like trusting the process that can come out of it rather than trying to be some mastermind with two sounds. I don't think everyone has that gift to be like, oh, this person would have the perfect sound if they do this. Like, I think that comes about naturally through some trial and error. So that I'd be more particular about, like artist level stuff, but making beats like casually and or producing for other people where they want beats. I'm
It's
pretty
like
open.
dating.
Yeah, I'll fuck anyone. I can't love everyone. Just kidding. I
Flip
don't
it.
mean that. Chat, send it to clipmontagedaily.
What would young say? Sorry. What would young Becky say to
You just
adult
doxed me?
Becky?
I just gave my government. It depends on what stage he was in, but I think overall, both inspired and he wouldn't believe it was himself, probably. I don't think he understood that that could come from someone in Kansas. But I think my version of myself, if I existed when he was that age, I think he would be very curious. I don't know how much he would like the music, but I think he would be enamored. He wouldn't believe if you said it was his older self. He'd be like, well, it'd be cool if he was a little bit more punk and metal, but
Midwest.
yeah, man. I mean,
And vice versa. What would you say to young Becky right now?
tighten up. It's not that deep. And don't be so self-deprecating. Find a meaningful way to do that. It's okay, man. We're here for you. They probably don't even care that much, to be honest. Also, you're not going to like attention as much as you do then. Trust me. Don't vine. Stop vining. Stop making vines. Keep the good ones. There's some good ones, but be more critical. Quality control, my friend. It's important. Also, Vine will die, so don't think that that's a viable future.
Did you think Vine was going to be your job?
Also, don't have friends that are artists in the future. They're absolute deadheads that will tread on your dreams.
But you really got to diversify the friend group. Not friend group, just your friends in general.
Yeah, that's true.
As you get older, friend groups can be tough.
You won't have groups of friends. You will have individual friends, and some of them can hang out together.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be the same as when you're with them on one-on-one, so don't expect them to be the same one-on-one. Even you, believe it or not, aren't as much as yourself as you'd like to believe in group settings. Also, you're not one of them. They're actually out to get you, and you should be really scared and more paranoid than you are. The voices are real. They are there, and they're coming to get you. Man, in an alternate universe where, like, time traveling exists and Lil Becky hears this. Yeah. Yeah, it should be nicer to even alternate dimension Becky in case it exists. Hey, I'm joking, by the way. This is really dark. I'm still very proud of you, kid.
Why are you proud of your younger self?
For not like assimilating in interests or like what I liked. I was constantly so outspoken about like, man, this new punk band, this new metalcore band. I just knew what I like believed and liked at a young age. But I do wish he was more confident to start pursuing at an earlier age rather than taking so long to not be so nervous to try and fail and put himself out there. Because like at the end of the day, it would have been good just to get it started earlier.
It's terrifying to try something new, especially in high school. People will clown you for trying anything. You could wear a different hat and people try to clown you for it. It's crazy.
Just a bunch of insecure teens. People trying new things, people just trying to fit in, people trying to get by. It's just everyone got to go through it, unfortunately.
I was insecure about some stuff in high school, but like I always had zero problem trying something new. That's something I always really liked about myself. I remember like going into high school, I was like, I am bored with guitar. I can't buy drums because they're too expensive and we don't have a house. So let me pick up the ukulele. I'm like, whatever. I'll just play it for a summer. And then like that was like some of the most fun times I've ever had playing music. Just playing dumb songs all the time with my homies.
I think having more fun with it would have been nice rather than being so serious and
Yeah.
stoic, because the impact that artists have on me intrinsically, it felt so monumental to character building or like discovering myself. It was hard to compartmentalize like that music itself can both be funny and impactful and vice versa. Like it can be serious and funny. I think about some of my favorite like bars or rappers. They're funny, but they're still meaningful. Like they're poetic. It's still palpable. It still grooves super hard.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of breaking down that barrier. I think as you grow up, you learn to compartmentalize or understand that things are a little bit more fluid as well. I think about at the end of his YouTube career, going into his music career, you listen to it's like, yeah, it's pretty of the times, but it's like fun. That's a good performance, you know?
Yeah.
When you're having fun, you are gonna make stuff you like. And people feel that. When you're having fun, that will convey.
That authenticity always
Always.
is the through line.
Oh, dude. Over criticism of yourself in the creative process, you'll never get to gold. There is a time and place for criticism. It almost is after you even put it out.
That's a really good question. How do you handle criticism?
I listen and I hear what they have to say and I stir with it a bit. I understand that some things are preference, some things are subjective. If they give me like 3 points, there could be 2 of them that I see what you're saying, but that's not really what I was going for. Like, that's why I do this, or I like this more. You can pick parts of criticism you agree with. Doesn't have to be all yes, all no. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I have thought as well, like, this feels a little bit static. But also, I like tucked vocals in my stuff. It's a give and take. I think a little bit of salt never hurt. A lot of people want explicit criticism, but I think you find some of the best criticism kind of like in between the lines. From a lack of communication, sometimes you can find, why aren't they engaging with this? Compliments that they give you. If they're not being very forward or it's very generic, notice like, well, they said it's good. It reminds me of Nick Cannon. What the does that mean? Oh, he's saying it has like maybe a real snare in there, like has a pocket or bounce to it that can sound marchy at times. I see where you think that, but to me, I just don't agree with that.
I have a pretty quick filter of like who it's coming from. If it's not coming from someone I respect that really knows like what I'm about, then a lot of times I might get pissed off, but I'm just like, this opinion doesn't even matter to me at all.
Kind of got to let it go.
Yeah. And then I'll beat the brakes off of him later.
I get the Temu Glock 18.
I get vengeant with vengeant. Is that a word?
Vengeful.
Vengeful.
You get your vengeance.
I'm Shakespeare. Yeah. F it. I get vengeant with.
Vengeant. Oh, I thought you said vengeance.
Vengeant.
Vengeant. That might be a word. Language changes and grows.
Yeah.
So if you think of a word that makes sense, just rock with it. Who cares? All those guys that say that's not a word, call them a nerd. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you Webster? Merriam-Webster? Are you either of those people? Dweeb? And then spit in their face.
But I'm extremely hard on myself. So it's like if it's harsh criticism can be bothersome, but then I try not to like lean into it as much. If it's harsh criticism from a person I respect, I'm just like I think about it way more. But like when it comes to the internet, you know, I mean I'm just now starting to grow a little bit more, and I'm starting to see some like weird comments of just people being like, oh yeah, you should have done this during this song. I'm just like, all right, whatever. You literally don't do anything. So it's like,
It sounds
like
vengeant to me.
I don't know. Check the stats. I don't know.
I think attack on character hurts a lot worse than criticisms on something you've put out. My biggest thing I'm concerned about, even doing this, it feels very egotistical. Like I enjoy it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's fun. Yes, I like doing this stuff. But I also, if it's annoying or problematic or like,
Yeah.
like that's embarrassing to me. So like if somebody doesn't like a song I made, cool. You don't like how I process these drums, cool. You think it's,
But if they're like, why are you occupying this space? Do you think you need
Yeah.
to be here? Like that probably sticks with you a lot more, right?
that's still kind of an attack on character because it's like you don't have the awareness to realize you don't belong here. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I think about it that I don't belong anywhere a lot. So
Yeah.
I just like what I like. I make stuff with my friends and this is what comes about. And it incorporates all of our interests. So
Yeah.
sometimes we do this, sometimes we do that. And when you're in a pocket, stay in that pocket. Ride it out. If you like it, do it. If it makes you
Yeah.
happy, if you want to get a bag and it's helping you get that income, stay with it. You know, there's so
Yeah.
many ways you can do this thing.
I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine in a different band, and he was just like, imagine going your whole life without having the self-awareness that you're corny as hell. I would be devastated.
You just also have to understand that to somebody you will be as well.
Yeah.
It's just unavoidable.
Yeah.
We think other people are corny, and then you meet them too, and you're like, oh, I had a wrong perception of you because it's just the internet. And also, like, it's not that deep. If they
Yeah.
think you're corny, it's not that deep. I think there are people, it's how they move throughout time.
Yeah.
Kind of determines how much I feel like they're being authentic or they're moving with such a lack of awareness or they're doubling down.
Yeah.
I think change and growth is probably silent most times. You should still live your life and do what you want to do, but you know sometimes you gotta just accept like we're gonna be cringe to somebody,
Yeah.
and that hurts. But if you're too cool, if you're too amicable, you'll never make art because there's.
You'll never make anything cool if you're
And then it would be corny.
memorable
And then it
or
would be corny.
and then it would be corny.
Hey, look how we're mirroring each other physically. This is a sign of friendship
hilarious.
and companionship and
We're
kinship.
actually sitting the same way.
He loves me,
We're
and
mirroring
I love
each
him.
other.
I'm here with my work husband, Tajani.
I love you.
Much love.
Much love.
I think younger version of me thought he was closer with people than he really was. Like, hey, I love you. They don't actually mean they love you because there are different types of love. There's like, hey, I love what you do, or I love you as a friend, or
I would rather hear like, seeing you makes me happy. Seeing you brings me joy. I don't know. I don't think that's.
I like how you said that. That was kind of sexy. Can you look in my eyes and say that? Sorry.
You're lovely. I hope we get to hang out again soon.
Damn, that's
how
flirty.
That's how I say stuff.
That's what makes you flirty.
I'm not flirty at all, actually. I'm very direct. This is why I don't have a girlfriend.
I'm literally going to repeat these sentences and put a poll. Is this flirty? Anyway. Okay, so thinking that relationships are closer than they are. And that is something I felt a lot when I was 13, 14.
Yeah. I struggle with that too. I latch on pretty early. I open up pretty early. expecting the same amount of.
No, but like everyone. Like, you don't think you're best friends with everyone. Like, you misinterpret acquainted relationship with somebody. It's like you really think you're friends with that person. I learned the hard way. I do
that though, but I also just take risks too. I kind of get crazy in the DMs where I'm just like, hey, you want to do this? Or like, hey, would love to help you with this thing or whatever.
If you like what you do and you care about what you do, a lot of business is very personal and you work with people that you trust. But I think understanding that it takes time to build relationships. You can't immediately off of an acquaintance be tight with somebody, no matter how good the drink was you had with them.
It's crazy because you also can't control the response of anyone. Oftentimes, I just lob up like, hey, my door's open. If it happens, if it doesn't, I'm still cool. I'm not going to feel rejected. It's just like, I just lob it up and hope for the best. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm at the age now where I'm like, I just don't care that much. I'm already not with these people. I'm already not in those circles. So I might as well just be like, hey man, I know where my value is as a musician, songwriter, engineer, whatever, or just having connection with certain people. Like, I know where my value lies. So it's like, if I can just ground myself in that and be like, you know what? I do bring something to the table. I know I can at least provide this one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And knowing that gives me confidence going into situations that may feel risky or feel out of reach, you know. And then at the core of it, like I said, going back to, you know, thinking about 12-year-old you riding home from soccer practice where you just feel weird after a certain interaction, and you turn on that song and you're like, man, like this guy's like me, right? I think about that all the time. Every time I get scared or every time I'm like, I feel narcissistic or I feel lame, I feel insert whatever negative thing, I'm like, I'm doing this for the black kid who loves guitar. I think about that and I'm just like, all right, doing it, sending that DM, uploading that TikTok video, or writing this lyric, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know.
I think that goes with business, personal endeavors, creative hobbies, friendships, acquaintances, intimate relationships, love. You can't shoot 100%. It's cliche, but just do it. In music, I think there's a lot of surface level things. Me and you actually are tight. I feel lucky to be able to have that just in this life. I was able to have a friend that wants it on their own just as bad as I do is going to do it regardless.
You know what I just realized?
I actually hate you.
You are a bad friend. No.
I'm actually breaking up with you live on camera. This is our last conversation we'll be having together.
Damn, it's been a good ride. Can't control it.
Hey, leave the party while you're having fun.
Hey, leave the party when you're having the most fun, man. What if it's so hard to reach out to people when you're smaller because they don't know what you're about yet? Like, if people know what you're about first, they're like, oh, I already resonate with this thing. I can hop on this train. I literally just thought about that.
It's tough.
I definitely do celebrate it when it does go well, but with the failures don't feel as deep.
Yeah, because you're going to do it again next week. It's kind of like making beats. Like, if you don't make beats for a while, it's nerve-wracking getting back.
Yeah.
So just pick it up every day. Do what you can every day. Make an idea every day. I'm a hypocrite right now. I just moved. Give me a break.
What do you think the next few years are going to look like?
I think we're going to see a larger democratization of
Will you be participating?
Most likely not.
Producing?
Most likely not. I'll keep you updated.
I've thought about it.
I'll link you if I do. It's a tough gig.
It's a tough gig.
Probably fascism, just in large, unfortunately.
Fascism is really unfortunate because it's such a funny word to say.
It has a lot more gravity to it. Like, we want to just say it lightly, but it's like the cusping of it is scary. But a fun word nonetheless. For me, let's see, how sick would it be to have a house, to own a house?
I would love to have a dog. I travel so much for work. It's just like, I'm just gone a lot. And it's like not feasible to have a pup that you can properly take care of.
You get a Boston Terrier on the road. They love traveling.
Oh my God. I want a dog so bad.
Why not get a dog and just do what you do? Why not?
It's just a lot of stress. It's one thing more on my plate that I would not want to handle right now.
Yeah, damn. You really don't like cats, though.
I don't like cats, no. I wish I was allergic so I had a reason to hate them.
You even don't like my cats, I can tell.
I'm just not a cat person. Dogs will just be like, and they just sit there and they just constantly just want to lay and
you
cuddle
need constant affirmation and control.
Cats, you try to pet them or whatever, and they just run away, and it's just like, all right. You try to play with it doesn't play with you, and then it just boxes you for no reason. It's crazy. Those things are crazy.
My cats have done none of those things to you.
I watched your cats that one time, and they
would wake you up because they're hungry. They're just communicating. They'll meow, and if you don't wake up,
that's fine. But I just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden they're pawing at my calf and stuff. I'm like, what is this? This is
They're
crazy.
pawing in near your calf. You're jumpy
They
around them.
are literally Mike Tyson right hooking my calf as I'm trying to.
I've seen it happen in real time, and they're touching the couch behind you.
Still, I don't like them. I want a dog. I want a border collie. I haven't felt love since a long time. That almost made me cry. Definitely made me tingle. Cool.
Let's do a yay or nay on topics. Sarah Palin lip bite.
Is that even a question?
People that are fans of what you do saying, I love you.
I'm going to have to go down.
People that you are close with, and they say, good job, or you did good, or I like this.
Maybe. Words of affirmation, sure, yeah, I'll take that. Just don't say I love you. Tell me like once a quarter.
So it means something.
Um,
Cricket sound effects into mic.
falling in love at a coffee shop.
I'll thumb up for you. Oh,
No, I have to put a threshold on my personality right now because
No.
we're in a space where other people are. I can't like be rambunctious and
200 hertz frequency feedback the entire live set. We like that.
builds character,
Builds character. Builds
shows your true colors.
It does. You really get to see your friends at their lowest point, and you're able to experience, okay, we can go through really terrible things together and see how we can come out of it. That night was rough. I've never smiled out of such pain. And
When we were at the pizza shop afterwards and we were just laughing about just how horrible it went, I was just like,
that was devastating laughter.
God. I mean, I've ran a lot of shows and like I've had moments where I had to stop the show completely and there's, 1,000 people watching or 2,000 people watching and it's just like when something goes wrong and it's just like, okay, this sucks. The band is not happy. I've been in those moments like way more. Just like, all right, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. Like that's just very normal to me. And I'm like, oh wait, not everyone has that same
Everyone
approach
handles it differently.
or response,
I think that is the appropriate response, is to slow it down, do what you can to fix it, and if it doesn't fix past that point, hey, give us a quick sec, we're going to figure this out, bantering with the crowd.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world, but just make it through the night, you'll be all right.
Still got paid though. So broke even at
We
least.
broke even.
We broke even.
So, hey, better than going in the hole.
Hey, still owes me money.
We got the Temu Glock 18.
She has a. Never mind.
Anyway, firearms.
Yeah, I'll blow somebody away. I'll hit a lick.
Oh, speaking of which, that's the next
Hitting
bit we're
licks?
doing. We actually are going to set up the cameras in the car and the mics, and we're going to do drive-bys for the next bit.
Damn.
I think that's a really good way to show teamwork, how we handle stressful situations,
Communication.
good communication.
Who's the best driver?
Me, if I'm locked, for sure.
You?
Yes.
Think so?
Yes. I know so.
You think you'd outdrive a cop?
Well, let's say
I think in this setting it'd be me. I think I've driven.
No.
I think I've driven these streets a little bit more. I've door dashed, parked in front of fire hydrants, in and out, no questions.
I will say, though, I'm a bad driver when we banter. But if I'm locked in for a job, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a bad driver. I just...
Camera agrees, apparently. Would you rather have a better driver or would you rather have a better
shot.
shooter?
How's your aim with, like, have you ever shot,
I've
like,
shot
BB
a
guns?
22 couple times. I used to play paintball, airsoft.
Okay, how was your...
I was 12. I used to put up a target in the middle of a field and just like shoot, but also your heart rate goes up and then the mask gets foggy.
This is exactly why I think this is going to be an excellent exercise.
Great team
We
building.
can go get apple pie and ice cream.
I feel like I hit adolescence like 10 years late and now I'm on the other side of adolescence,
Yeah. You're now, right?
Yeah.
We'll bleep that.
I'm 28. I'm proud.
You're proud of 28?
People think, oh, you're so cooked, you're so washed, you're unk or whatever. But like, you got to think about it this way.
Has anyone called you Unk yet?
My nieces. They try to roast me so bad. And I'm just like, y'all don't even know what's coming. It's going to be.
Oh, you're patient.
Oh, yeah. We played a long game right here. I told you, I got that hate streak in me, bro. Trust me. I've been making them laugh all these years, dude. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious.
When life just hands in the worst plate and you're like, I don't like people my age calling me Unc. It's like, you want to be weird? Like, just act your age.
You got to change your perspective. People are like, oh, I'm too old to do this, whatever. But you got to think like, oh, it's going to be sick in 4 years when I'm like, yeah, I didn't start learning drums until I was 27. And now I'm playing on this like sick stage, or like I get to do this thing, right? You got to think about it like that way rather than retroactively. You know what I mean? Which I think retroactively all the time, but I train myself out of it, you know? I literally didn't know how to play drums, yet got a Grammy-nominated artist on Dark Slide. That's crazy.
I'm cutting this. Why are you flexing on my...
I'm just saying. You know people who...
No, I'm playing. No matter the age you're at, it's never too late to pick up some shit. Get into pottery. Get old furniture and refinishing it.
I trained my whole life in track, right? And I've heard stories of people like, oh yeah, like I'm a nurse, but I got into running because I ran my first marathon. Now they qualified for the first Boston Marathon. They're like, oh, I want to keep doing this. And they're like at the Olympic trials, like 4 or 5 years later. I'm like, that's crazy. You know, I've also seen kids like, oh, I didn't start running cross country until junior year or whatever. Didn't get a scholarship. And then like, yeah, I've seen them walk on and literally drop times that are insane.
Yeah.
And, you know, now professional runners, you know what I'm saying?
We probably got to go.
All right.
Cheers. Thanks for interviewing me. Thanks for letting me have you on.
Much love.